Welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic leaf springs are under Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is 4x4 Toyota Tyler. And joining me in the studio is juror number 4, Jimmy Jett. How are you, Mr. Jett?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Can we ask your opinion on people who get drunk and pick fights with other people out at bars?
You may.
What's your... We need to know so that we can know whether or not you're going to be chosen for this jury coming up here, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
For everybody else out there, I had jury duty as soon as I came home from Cruise Moab. I had Monday. I had call in on or Sunday night for Monday. They said don't show up. I had call in Monday night for Tuesday, and they said come on in. And,
Bummer.
And then I was the last. There was 3 people left, and then they called all 3 up into the bench as the alternates. Mm-hmm. And they didn't choose me.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to sit in the jury and do a case and, go behind the closed doors and do the process. It would be interesting and something that would be, I think, fun to do once. Mm-hmm. But this one also came at bad timing. Yeah. It wasn't the case. They didn't need
you last week.
Right. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have been able to go, or I could have asked for an extension. I think vacations actually, you can ask for a change of date.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So I went in there and it really wasn't the case for me. And I sort of felt biased. I already judged the dude. I already knew.
Was he in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
So I answered, I kind of purposefully, I was truthful. Mm-hmm. I swore I was truthful, but I did sway my truth one direction.
Okay.
And, they didn't choose me because of my answers.
Bummer.
Yeah.
I would have been like, he totally looks guilty to me. I don't care what you guys say.
Yeah. He did it. Whatever it is. Oh, he helped an elderly. Yeah, that's what he did.
Yep. Oh, that's funny. Oh man, what a way to get back and trying to get back into life, running a single person business and not being able to do it for 2 days after being gone for a week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, Monday I worked, but and Tuesday I had to go in. So
yeah.
Also they didn't bat an eye at me saying, yeah, I'm a solopreneur. I run and operate my own business. I don't have any employees. I do it all myself, and I am, here losing money.
Yeah.
Because I'm not able to fulfill orders and do things that I need to do to survive and make myself a living.
Did they look at you and say, cool, so you'll be here for another 7.5 hours. Can you go buy everybody coffee?
No, the judge kind of was like, yeah, we all have hardships that we need to get through and figure out, but this is everybody's civic duty. And, we need, you have to fulfill your civic duties or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I almost said to the judge, well, why don't you come in on your time off and come and work for me?
Yeah.
Since I'm now going to have to go down to my house on my time off and we'll do work.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that would have gone over well.
I don't think that would have gone through. We get a notice. Jimmy is in jail now for 24 hours.
Why don't you come work on your time off?
Yeah.
Since you're making me work on my time off.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's funny. Anyways, happy Wednesday or Thursday, I guess, to all of the future jurors out there.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
It is Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
How was your May 4th?
May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Was good.
Yeah.
I wore
Did you move any big rocks with your mind?
I tried on the way to school.
Uh-huh.
We were
what grade are you in?
The mini assistant, and I walked to school every morning. Uh-huh. And it turned into why don't you try to move everything that's black, and then it turned into why don't you try to move things that are black and white, and then try to move things that are black, white, and red. I just don't think they were coming around. The black ones didn't work around very often.
We'll try this other color.
Yeah, we'll just do this color and this color and this color.
We'll find a color that works eventually.
And I was like, look, I'm moving that car, and the mini assistant's like, no, that car's driving. I'm like, I'm moving it. She didn't go for it.
Oh, bummer.
And she's like, look, I'm going to move those flowers. And then the wind came up and I was like, oh my gosh, you did it.
Look at you go.
So
send her off to Coruscant to join the Jedi Temple.
Is that where it is? Yeah.
I don't know where it's at.
Coruscant. No, I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's right. Somebody, Chris will correct us.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where it is, but yeah, I'm a fan of Star Wars. I like Star Wars, and so yeah, I'm happy that the mini assistant does.
How do you feel about episode 1? Now we're gonna get off topic here. How do you feel about episode 1?
I actually really like so episode 1, when you refer to episode 1, it's a little convoluted, right? Are you talking about the first episode released or the first episode in the series of 1 through 9?
First episode in the series 1 through 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually liked it.
I did too.
I did.
I really enjoyed it.
Jar Jar Binks is annoying.
Yes.
And I think that ruins it for everybody.
The first time I watched it, I was like, oh, he's hilarious. Every time after that, I was like, he's getting annoying.
But the plot of that episode is really good. The pod racing is really good. The sounds in the pod racing are awesome. But yeah, Jar Jar Binks is ridiculous. Yeah. And if he just toned it down a little bit, I think it would be an outstanding episode. But I think I really liked that episode. So
yeah, I did too. I liked it as well. I don't get what all the beef is with it. So
yeah, when actually just watched it not too long ago.
It's going to go on the other podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'll keep going.
Go for it.
Because Mandalorian was out on Disney. And on Disney Plus.
Was that a show?
The show, The
Mandalorian. Yes.
And then they just released the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah.
I'm working my way through that one right now.
Okay. Stick with it. The first few episodes weren't that.
Yeah,
they're a little slow. Yeah. But when the Mandalorian shows up, it gets really good.
Oh, I'm not there yet. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and my parents were watching the Book of Boba Fett, and they're like, "No, we don't like it. We don't like the character. We don't like anything." And I was like, "Stick with it." And like a few more episodes, and then they're like, "Oh, it's gotten really good." Mandalorian showed up. I'm like, "Yeah."
Nice.
So, anyways, the assistant and I were trying to we knew Boba Fett, but we didn't know his story. So then we went back, and the clones and everything. So we went back and we started watching the Star Wars movies, and we watched episode 1, 2, and 3 to try to get the story of Boba Fett
and the Clone Wars and everything. How the clones started. Yeah.
So yeah, I just recently watched episode 1.
Okay, nice. So. I don't know. I think that's such a fascinating universe. When you talk about different movie universes, right? There's, the Marvel universe, there's DC, there's the Harry Potter universe,
Star
Trek universe. There's all these different things that somebody had to create in their heads and then make a movie out of, or a book out of, or something out of.
Yeah.
And then how we have visualized that idea into movies is fascinating to me.
Yeah, and sometimes they shouldn't be made into movies, and they should have been left books.
True.
But yeah.
Anyways, okay.
Like Ender's Game.
Yes, that one was a bad movie.
All of them.
Terrible. Yeah. I didn't even watch any of the other ones. I just watched the first one.
I think they made an Ender's Game a while ago, and then they made one more recently.
Oh,
a movie.
Okay.
But yeah. The book is great.
Oh, okay.
The book's
I've never read the book. I've only watched the movie, and I'm like...
The book is amazing.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of them. There's we're so off topic. There's 6 or 8 Ender's books. And one of them, I think at book 6, is the Book of Bean. And
Bean?
Bean.
B-E-A-N?
B-E-A-N.
Okay.
And Bean is this Ender's second in command in some of the last battles.
Okay.
And the author, who I can't recall who it is, said that the movie, he couldn't figure out how to write the movie script until one of his friends said, you have to incorporate the story of Bean into the movie. And so I never read book 6, or I think it's 6. But when I found that out and they were doing that in the movie, I went and read book 6 so that I can understand that whole story. Okay. And it made a lot more sense when you read more than one of the book of the series and then they try to cram everything into a movie. That started making more sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, even book 2, which was Speaker for the Dead, was a pretty good book.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Dune turns out, because I didn't even realize that was as big of a book as it is. And I was like, I don't get the movie.
That's a series too.
Yeah. But I didn't understand the movie. I was like, I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
And then you had to explain it to me. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. There's more coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more coming. Also, if you go and, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you go and watch Dune, I would actually highly suggest you go and watch Dune now, then pick up the book and start reading it, because like the final stuff doesn't happen, right? Like there's a whole nother possible, I think there's supposed to be one other movie, but there might be two. And so nothing's really happened. They've sort of just, the book or movie one was all lead up and character development for the most part. So now you know who people are. So now if you go and read the book, you won't get confused because there's a whole bunch of that in the book too. And then you have to remember names and who's who and what like tribes they were to. And so, if you watch the movie first and you go back and start reading the book, you can finish the book, which would be really good. And then when you go watch the movie, you got a better understanding.
Gotcha. So. Okay. Well, cool. Shall we talk about some off-roading here? What about some off-roading movie?
Off with me going to jury duty.
Oh, man, this is great. Welcome to the Snail Trail 4x4 show, everybody. Off-roading podcast extraordinaire over here. We are professionals, always staying on topic, never getting off topic.
Yeah.
We'll finish that sentence. Oh man,
I'm still tired.
We're still a little delirious from our trip to Moab, so that's sorry you guys are getting the brunt of that right now. But it's we got a lot of stories to tell.
Yes, we do.
So this is probably going to be a multi-episode podcast, but I don't know. We haven't recorded it yet, so we'll see how long it takes to record all the shenanigans and everything that happened. Before we get into recording, though, we have started planning next month, I guess.
June,
yeah. Tool month. Woot, woot. So we got all that planning. So that is actually looking like a lot of fun.
Yes.
So we're excited to get into June where we can start telling you guys all the fun games that we have planned. So definitely, if you're not staying caught up on episodes because we put out too many, you're going to want to make sure you stay caught up in June.
Yeah, if you're a month behind and you're listening to this episode at the beginning of June, just skip ahead. Skip the next 8 episodes and go to June. Yeah, you might want to listen to 300, but you need to, definitely get up there.
Yeah, so make sure you guys are paying attention in June. That's all I'm going to say for now. May, though, we have a phenomenal, really cool giveaway going on for the month of May. It is a 270-degree awning from Ironman 4x4.
Yes.
So Jimmy talked a little bit about it in the previous episode where it was kind of the, hey guys, we're back from Moab. We're not dead. We're alive. We'll talk to you Thursday. But it's a really freaking cool awning. They sent us one that we get to try out and go use and put some experience under and see, kind of give our feedback on it. I haven't gotten it put up on the trailer yet. That's where it's going to go on the little camping trailer I'm building. But once my goal is to have that up here soon, so that we can start using it and getting you guys some feedback about it. But we're going to have Greg from Ironman 4x4 on the show later this month. So you guys watch for that interview to come out. We get to hear some pretty cool stories about what Ironman 4x4 is all about and where they come from and where they're heading. So keep on the lookout for that. And then make sure if you want to get in for this $900 awning.
Isn't it like $1,200?
$1,200. It's between $900 and $1,200. I think it depends on if you get the lights with it or not or something. So
are there lights with it? I questioned myself on that episode.
They sent lights with this one, so
okay.
Yeah. So it comes with the lights, all the bracketry you need to hook it onto your vehicle, and it's a passenger side awning, which means you hook it on the passenger side and then it opens around the passenger side and then around the back of whatever you put it on the vehicle, right? So you can have driver's side or passenger side and how it opens. This is a passenger right-hand side opening. Yeah, freaking cool awning. I've taken mine out and opened it in my front yard, and it's a pretty damn nice quality. A pretty small footprint packed down, for how big of a footprint it is when it's opened up.
Yeah. Well, Iron Man
nice.
4x4s, they don't joke around. I mean, their
don't.
stuff is true or tested and true. You know, I did some reading up on them when we started talking to them a little bit about their kits, and they like go the extra mile to make safety precautions for their shocks and everything, so that when you are bombing down dirt roads and sand and, you know, the outback, you know, you're not destroying the shaft of your shocks, you know, that they make all these protections from it. And I can only figure that they rely, or they carry that knowledge and wisdom into all the other, like, air quote, overlanding products that they create, you know, and they want to make things as robust and strong as possible, but still going to be in a tight package.
James Jett, ladies and gentlemen, talking about tight packages. So yeah, it's a really neat awning. I've been impressed with it so far, and I haven't even got it up on the trailer, so I'm excited to get it up there and go start using it. This month is Overland Expo.
Yes.
Arizona, which I will be going out to.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence.
Jimmy's on the fence with his tight package. He's trying to figure out which way he's going to fall. And so, I'll be out there. The goal is to have the awning on the trailer and the lithium ion battery and solar panels on the trailer as well before then. I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll see. Because I have a lot of stuff to kind of fuck around with on the 4Runner too, which we'll get into a little bit.
Are you going to take the 4Runner?
No, I'm not going to be able to get both done. There's no way before Overland Expo. So my goal is to prioritize the trailer right now and take it behind the F-150. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you guys see me out at Overland Expo, look for the F-150 and the trailer, and you guys can take a look at the Ironman 4x4 awning that you have a chance to win here this month. So if you want to make sure that you have a chance for that, you need to make sure you signed up over on patreon.com for the $10 tier, or over on iRate 4x4 for the $10 tier over there. So that's all I got about that. Last month's giveaway, which was the Bun Trail Welder. We are still waiting for final confirmation from Patreon to get all of the payments in and payments cleared. So we will be doing that giveaway, announcing it next week.
Yes.
Next Thursday. So keep your ear holes open to see who won a Bun Trail Welder. And the iRate payments are already in because those are done on anniversary dates rather than everybody all at the end of the month. So if you're signed up on one of those two platforms in the month of April, then you're good. We have you. You're good to go. The gift box tier should be closed. So you are no longer able to get into the gift box tier. That is closed. Sorry, not sorry. We have too many people there anyways. Or you need to kick out Samurai James.
Yeah.
Who's now Jeep and James.
What?
You didn't hear about that? Oh, he bought a Jeep.
They bought a Jeep?
Yeah, they bought a Jeep.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was very disappointed.
Did they get rid of a Samurai?
They're working on it. Yeah. They're going to get rid of the blue one.
Oh, wow.
Old Faithful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Smoky.
Old Smoky, that's right. That's what it is. So yeah, Jeep and James. So now we have somebody to take the Jeep and James name away from you. How's that?
I'm happy.
Okay, good.
Was never going to happen on my end.
Yeah, I'm sure. We would have got you there eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyways, that's a background housekeeping stuff that we have to get into. I don't want to get into any more because we have a lot of fun stories for you guys. Are you ready to go with story time?
I think so.
You seemed very
there's a lot.
There's a lot. Oh man, where do we begin? We went to Moab.
We did.
For a really cool event.
Yes.
Mog Safari.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. The Unimogs were out at Moab while we were there.
That's true, they were.
And we didn't meet Joe.
Nope.
But anyways, we were out there for Cruise Moab. What is Cruise Moab, Jimmy?
Yeah, Cruise Moab is an event put on by the TLCA, TLCA, Toyota Land Cruiser Association.
Dyslexia is hard.
Yeah, it sucks. And there's all kinds of Toyotas and other vehicles out there. I mean, we had a trail leader that was a Jeep. Everybody's welcome, but people do laugh if you are in something else.
I think Keith kind of took a little personally when we were bagging on the Jeep there.
I think so
at some point.
Yeah.
Sorry, Keith. We loved you. You were great.
But it is mainly for the most part, it's a Land Cruiser event, and there was everything. Though I didn't see any 55s, I did see 40s and 60s, 62s, some 70s.
Saw some 45s.
You saw some 45s.
So I think one or two at the event, and then there was one in town for sale.
Yeah. Saw some 80s, lots of 80s, lots of 100s and 200s.
Yep.
So, and then we all ascend.
I think I was the only second gen 4Runner. I didn't see any others. I didn't look through the registration either, but
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There was some mini trucks. There was some first gen mini trucks. There was some Tacomas. There was a whole bunch of vehicles there. And we all go to Moab and we meet up and we go out on trails and go drive around.
Yeah.
And meet people,
make new friends, support the TLCA, which does a lot of trail advocacy support as well. So,
yes.
It was a really fun event. We went last year and it was the quote unquote off year, right? They didn't have, they still held the event as opposed to 2020. I don't think they held the event at all.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It got all canceled. 2021, they at least held the event. They just didn't have any times for everybody to meet up back at the Spanish Trail Arena, right? There was no dinner, no vendor night, no party night. It was just the trail rides. That was it.
Correct.
And then this year was the 25th anniversary of Cruise Moab. And they did a great job.
They did a phenomenal job. Largest attendance ever.
Yeah.
How
quickly did that sell out?
4 minutes.
4 minutes to sell out their largest attendance ever.
Yep.
That's crazy.
We're lucky that we're vendors.
Yeah.
And so we got in through a back door.
Yep.
Because we were out in King of the Hammers.
Yeah, we were.
When registration opened. And it's not like you have any wonderful service or sitting around waiting for Cruise Moab to open while you're out at King of the Hammers. So we got in. It also, Cruise Moab had the most vendors they've ever had.
Yeah.
This year. So they had a fairly large vendor show in and out of the rodeo stables,
arena it's called. The Spanish Trail Arena,
right? And so it was the biggest and the baddest Cruise Moab ever.
It was pretty neat.
25th anniversary.
It was fun to be a part of. It was fun to meet a bunch of people, see a bunch of people. We got to see a bunch of listeners. We got to see, I got to see a bunch of fans of Moreflate. We put on one hell of a display at the vendor night.
We did. I didn't see many photos of that though.
I didn't either. I kept thinking there would be more photos around social media. Yeah. Because there were a lot of people taking pictures.
Right. Yeah. So pretty much at the vendor night, I pulled up on Tyler's tire. And flexed Bobcat out, and then threw a Moreflate on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we had the Kermit down there, Bobcat up there, Moreflates on both of them. Kermit's hood was open to show off the 3/4 swap in the welder, and then the Moreflate booth tent was next to everything. So. I thought it was really impressive. It was fun.
It was good. I think we should, so we kind of covered the event. Let's go back to the beginning and let's start this thing more in order. Because the vendor show was Thursday night.
Sure.
Friday night.
Thursday night. Yeah.
Thursday night. Yeah. So, what time did you wake up? Oh, first of all, what time did you wake up to start driving?
To start driving, I was awake at 3:30.
What time did you go to bed?
10:30. 11 maybe.
I think I went to bed at midnight and I woke up about 4.
Okay. Yeah. About the same.
Yep. And then, hit the road. And then we all met up at a Shell gas station. Right. And it was you and me and cruising to Camp Lee in his FJ80. And then Dimitri, who had his F350, 250?
I think it's a 250.
250 pulling the 200 series Land Cruiser.
Yeah, the corporate cruiser.
Corporate cruiser, the one that has the Tundra front end that we talked about a while ago. So he was pulling that. And then for the most part, we took off. We headed out. Roughly a 16-hour drive for us. Yeah, it was 16 to 16 and a half, somewhere around there with stops and everything. Yeah. And there wasn't really anything too eventful.
No.
went on. We cruised up through the Sierras.
Other than Dimitri leaving us.
Yeah. Well, you left too.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah, we were all going to, plan was to cruise together, but Clifford's not fast. Clifford has a blown head gasket. A blown exhaust manifold gasket. And I found it 2 days before leaving. And I went and bought the exhaust manifold gasket and have it, and was like looking at it going, I don't know if I want to dive into this project immediately right before I'm about to leave.
Yeah.
And start working on it, and then find out that there's an issue, or somebody doesn't have a part, or something breaks, and I have to spend a bunch of hours trying to solve this.
Then you have to drive Bobcat out there.
Then I'd have to drive Bobcat the entire way.
Yeah.
Or something, or I take the Tacoma and I change my plans to all these easy trails, or whatever. So I permatext.
Yeah.
I got some
high temp Permatex.
Permatex, RCV sealant, and just gooed it up around the, I don't know if that's number 4 cylinder, the one that's on the driver's side closest to the firewall, which also has the up pipe for the turbo right in that same area. Speaking to a few people, I guess this is a fairly common issue because there's a lot of heat in that area. So the Permatex didn't hold.
Yeah.
Long story short, it worked fine around town, but and going places, I wasn't really pushing on it. But as soon as I was going up some of the Sierra hills, I think it just blew through.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything. It didn't hold.
No.
I maybe put it on put have gooped more on there. I put a decent amount, but I didn't waste a tube on it. So, which maybe that would have solved my problem if I just would have filled it up.
If you can't weld a lot.
Exactly.
If you can't RTV something simple, do a lot of it.
Yeah. So Clifford wasn't running at top speed. It was down on boost and just wasn't a fast vehicle. Which I also think that because last year when I had so many problems, I think I was pushing it too hard. And I think that was some of the issues coming out. So my goal is just, all right, I'm cruising. I'm not going to do anything,
Were you
aggressive.
Cruising to camp?
I was cruising to Moab.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was the slowpoke for sure. Lee stayed back with me for most all of the event.
He's a nice
guy. The trip. Yep. Lee and I cruised into camp, and I cruised together, more or less to Salt Lake City. And Dimitri took off.
Yeah.
Dimitri was gone out as I think they stopped for lunch in Salt Lake City and were gone by the time you guys got there.
Yep.
And then you guys got there and you were waiting for us. We were about a half an hour behind you on the road or something like that.
Yeah, 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah. And pretty much I knew I was slow. So I said, well, I'm going to skip going to the brewery and lunch and I'm just going to keep driving. I had plenty of snacks and plenty of food in the rig. And you guys will probably catch me.
Yeah.
And so I drove to the Airbnb that we rented, and I was the first and only person there.
Yeah.
I beat Dimitri.
You beat everybody.
I beat everybody.
Yeah.
I guess Dimitri stopped at the Moab Brewing, and they went into Moab Brewing, and then they pretty much closed that place down, and then came back to the house. And then you guys showed up not too long after that.
Yeah, we were about 25 minutes behind you.
Yeah, and
so
then
at that point,
I think I had time to go into both the houses, make sure everything looked good, and figure out what side I wanted to claim. And then shortly after that, Dimitri showed up, and then we organized where he could park. And then right as I was telling him where to go and how to do that, I think you pulled up. So
yeah, it was a pretty uneventful drive, just a long day, 16 hours, man. It was like 780 miles, 760 miles, somewhere around there. So yeah, it was I'm still impressed with the F-150. It went 77, 78 miles an hour all the way across Nevada and Utah without any issues whatsoever. Nice. I was able to hold, 60 going up Highway 80, up out of the Sierras.
Did you get a check engine light this time?
I did. Yep.
Oh, cool.
I didn't get it until after the breakfast stop in Reno at our breakfast place, BJ's Barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Harry.
And that's the same place it turned on last year at the on-ramp as getting back on the freeway. So
doesn't like elevation.
Maybe I don't know what it is. I think the wastegate just gets stuck open and it doesn't like it for whatever reason because
I don't know.
Because it says that it starts registering under boost, but I plugged in the OBD2 monitor and it sure enough, it's getting under boost. It's only getting like 4 PSI of boost when it normally runs around 15 to 16.
Okay.
And, but it's like, how does that work? Because the exhaust is what turns the turbos.
Right.
And so if the turbos are pushing air into the intake, then I don't know what could be not producing boost when I'm towing, but producing boost when I'm not towing. I don't know. It doesn't sound like there's an exhaust leak anywhere. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that the wastegate sticks open then. So I don't know. Anyways, but it did great and no issues whatsoever. Made it out. Borrowed a trailer from John and Renee. So Welder John that we had on the podcast not too long ago, a couple episodes ago. Got in about, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there. And we all kind of just had a couple of drinks and then settled in and went to bed.
Pretty much.
Because we were all tired.
So this just in, B Murphy just passed this over to me. 878 miles.
878.
From where we sit here.
Wow.
At the studio.
Wow.
So for you, a little bit more, and for me, a little bit less.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of miles.
Yes.
Jeez. Gee, I think the only other time I've made that many miles in one day was going down to Baja. So
how far did you get in Baja?
We went from, let's say, Visalia, California to San Felipe.
So B. Murphy says that from Visalia to San Felipe is 537.
Wow. Jeez, almost doubled it.
Yeah, close. You were 2/3.
Yeah, 2/3. Man. All right. Well, yeah, so that's just a long day.
That's a long day.
Yeah. So anyways, Tuesday was just travel day. That was it. Mm-hmm. That's the plan for Tuesday. We got in, and then Wednesday is when everybody else started showing up. That was staying with us. So who else stayed with us, Jimmy?
Yeah, so we had Dave from Delta Vehicle Dynamics.
Delta Vehicle
Systems. We had one of his workers, Mike, who randomly drives an FJ80. Weird. Yeah. One of his long-time, what do you want to call Morgan? A purchaser? Supporter?
Yeah.
Somebody that buys everything that Dave ever makes. Was there, and Morgan's a good guy. He's from Australia. And then
he's an import.
Yeah. And Dave's wife came out as well. And then Dimitri and Rob came with us. We didn't really mention Rob from Stellar Built. And then your father showed up. And then that's it, right?
And secretary, and then you and Lee. Yeah. Dave's wife.
Yep, I said.
Oh, okay.
Jen.
Yep. So we got a couple of Airbnbs, a couple duplexes that are connected to each other, and that's such a great location.
It's prime.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's right between town and right between where we need to meet, and it has plenty of parking for trailers, which is the top-notch item.
I think we had 3 trailers, a Subaru, 3 FJ80s, 4 FJ80s, Land Cruiser 200 series. Oh, and then Anthony showed up at one point too.
Yeah, a 4Runner,
mini truck
in the 4th or 2nd gen 4Runner.
Yeah, we had a lot of vehicles there.
yeah, we did.
But great place, awesome place. I've already had a listener contact me asking for the address so that he can get it on Airbnb for when he goes out to Moab in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Totally. I mean,
we should have left a puck there for him, a token.
Yeah, that'd have been funny.
I didn't think about that. So anyways, great, awesome spot. There was a lot of people for the event staying out at the Spanish Trail Arena, camping, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we gave them a hard time about that. Or they gave us a hard time about that.
a hard time about that. And I just reminded them about last year. because last year was gorgeous weather, and then all of a sudden it started raining.
Dumped rain.
Yeah. It was crazy rain. It was like we were sleeping in like the basement of the house, kind of. It's a 2-story house, but you walk in on the second story, right? So we're sleeping on this first story or basement, and you could hear the rain hitting the roof. It was just dumping.
Yeah, it was pretty bad last year.
And so at first I was kind of like, oh, we should be camping with everybody. It'd be a lot of fun to be out there, hanging out with everybody all night long. And then that rainstorm came through, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm in a house.
Right.
And so, this year, it was beautiful weather. Everybody's doing good, and the next morning, one of the mornings, what was it? Friday morning, I think it was.
I think it was Thursday was the windy day.
Thursday was the windy day. We go out, and I was like, how'd you guys sleep? Oh my gosh, it was howling wind last night. It was so loud. There's
so much sand in our tents.
So much sand in the tents, all this stuff. I'm like, didn't even notice in my house.
I know. That was funny. We had a conversation over the radio during the Metal Masher run where Rob, our trail leader, was like, hey, did anybody wake up with a bunch of sand in their tent last night? And I was like, why would there be sand in your tent, Rob? And he goes, dude, it was so freaking windy last night. I was like, I didn't have any sand in my house.
Yep.
He goes, fuck you, Tyler.
Yep. Yeah. So Tuesday was drive day. Wednesday for us, for Cruise Moab relations, was primarily check-in day.
Yep.
It was the day that you just went to the Spanish Arena. You showed them your vehicle. They marked you off, and then you drove out of there A-okay. And then you got all the other goodies and swag and everything else that comes along with that.
Yep. How'd that go for you?
I almost failed.
Yeah?
I almost failed. Mainly because I didn't have an e-brake.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's one of the guys that was checking in last year remembered my truck, Bobcat, and was like, he didn't have it last year. We just marked him off. Okay. But yeah, the guy was like, he's like, pull your e-brake. And I like pulled the e-brake out, and he's like, all right, now put it in second gear. And I was like, okay. I almost let the vehicle stall just anyways. And then he's like,
you can put it in second gear and then just let the clutch out really fast, and it'll stall the vehicle.
Yeah.
So
maybe. And then
it would roll a little bit though, I think.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, take your foot off the brake and your vehicle needs to stall. And I was like, okay. And I rolled forward, and I was like, I don't have an e-brake. He's like, you don't have an e-brake? Like, no, I have gears.
Yeah.
Whenever I need an e-brake, I turn the vehicle off, put it in low, first or reverse, depending on which way I'm pointed on the hill. And that's my e-brake. And he's like, I'm going to have to talk to somebody about that. And then he went down to talk to one of the guys, and then I heard that one of the guys go like, yeah, he was here last year. It's okay.
Okay, cool.
Which I don't think I would not rely on me saying that it's okay that, like I passed because I didn't have an e-brake. I would not suggest other people to go and say, because I got through without an e-brake, that you could get through without an e-brake. Yeah. I told the guy I will have an e-brake next year.
Okay, nice.
I said, this will be fixed.
Yeah. They didn't even test for my e-brake.
Yeah. They didn't test my horn, which is a good thing because I don't have a horn either.
That's funny. They tested my horn.
Yes.
Which I think is what threw them off about testing my e-brake.
Maybe.
Oh, man. So, we drove in for tech inspection, and we kind of ended up getting tested at the same time. It was pretty straightforward. I put the blinkers on before going out there, so I had actual blinkers rather than these little tiny hidden blinkers that nobody can see and don't really do anything. And so the blinkers worked great. He did make fun of my broken tail light from Old Sluice. He kind of looked at it and he goes, does your tail light work? I was like, yeah. He goes, okay, go ahead and hit your brake. And so I started hitting the brake. He goes, okay, turn on your blinker. He goes, okay, it does work. I was like, yeah, lens is just broken. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a corner light out, which later I found out that one of the wires broke off on my Jimmy rigging.
Yeah.
But the guy's like, your corner light doesn't work. I'm like, you mean it doesn't work? Or he said, your corner light's broken. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, no, it doesn't work. I'm like, the bulb isn't working or the lens is cracked and broken. He's like, no, the bulb isn't working. I'm like, that's odd. That's weird. I'll fix that. I probably just needs another bulb.
Yeah.
And then because the corner light's it's broken glass or whatever, plastic glass, whatever's supposed to be there. And I knew that was broken, but I didn't know the bulb was bad. And then, later on, I think on Metal Masher or something, I found that
the wire dangling.
One of the wire, there was a wire dangling. I'm like, that's weird. What is that? Oh, that's why my corner light's not working.
Yeah.
Stupid butt connectors.
So yeah, registration was fun. I got to see a lot of people at registration.
Yeah.
A bunch of the people came through that I ended up knowing from California.
I know. How random was that?
Yeah.
A bunch of the, what are what's their club name?
I can't remember the name of the club ever.
But they're from Fresno area. Something crawler.
Yeah. TLCA Club from down in Fresno, the Fresno Central Valley area. But one of the guys, Casey.
He's the president of the club.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So fun story about Casey. I don't know if I've talked on the podcast about...
you did.
I did talk about it? Okay. So there was an incident on the Rubicon Trail where there was a guy out on the Rubicon Trail and his wife was back at home in the Central Valley, was trying to get a hold of him because their well went out at home. And it was on like day 2 of a 5-day trip for him on the Rubicon. And so we got him tracked down on the trail thanks to the repeater system, thanks to Facebook, thanks to just telling people. And he said that weekend, like 18 people stopped him and was like, hey, are you Casey?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, your wife needs to talk to you. He goes, I know.
I already spoke to her.
I already spoke to her. Thank you. But anyways, that was the guy.
Yeah.
And so he approached me. He goes, hey, I just want to say thank you again for kind of leading everything to get in contact with me out on the trail. And I was like, what?
Who are you?
Who are you? He goes, I'm Casey. I was like,
what?
Casey? He goes, yeah, my wife had the broken water well. And I was like, oh, no shit.
That's you.
I was like, that's cool. So, I got to meet him. And apparently my dad goes to their club meetings.
Yes.
So another small world
they all
thing.
knew your dad.
Yeah, it was funny. So
while we were there in the tech or inspections, who was in the back corner welding?
I think it was Big Mike was welding on some stuff from Marlin Crawler.
Yep. Big Mike from Marlin Crawler was welding something on his rig.
He wouldn't tell us what it was, though. We asked him, and he goes, it's a prototype part. I was like, oh, what are you working on? He goes, a prototype part. I was like, okay, got it. No more questions.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work.
No.
Whatever it was.
It did not work. We'll get to that in a bit. So, yeah, I was really impressed with the gift bag that we got.
Yeah.
It's a really high quality dry bag.
Mm-hmm. That's designed specifically for being a rooftop rack bag.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. What's it called? Right Light?
I don't remember. I really wish I'd brought the paper with me because it's a really freaking cool bag and I would love to give them a shout out. But it's designed, to go up on roof racks for adventures. And so it's designed to get rained on, hailed on, snowed on, beat on this with the sun at all times of the day, or in the beds of trucks or whatever you got. And really neat bag. So big kudos to Cruise Moab and that bag company, who we'll have to give them a shout out here. We'll put Brian on it. So we did that, bought some extra event t-shirts, bought an extra meal for my dad for the meal night, dinner night. Looks like Brian found the name. What is that? What did he send over?
It's called Right Line Gear.
Right Line Gear.
RIGHTLINE.
Perfect.
Right Line.
Yeah.
It looks like their logo is like a wolf.
Okay.
Or a coyote or something.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking it kind of looked like one of the original Firefox logos.
Yeah, kind of. It kind of does. Let's see here. That looks like they have car top carriers. They have truck tents. They have cargo products, which the picture looks like it's a big old, it looks like a canopy or a bag or something that covers the entire bed of a truck but tucks down on the inside. They have a door step. Something that works on the hinges or the locking mechanism of a door.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bag's great. The bag's nice. I used it on the way home and threw some of my dirty laundry in it.
I did too.
And threw it in the bed of the truck, and it rained on us on the way home. Yeah. And everything was nice and dry.
Nice. That's cool. I'm definitely, that's going to turn into my top choice for weekend bags, weekend bag or a 3 or 4 day trip bag.
Yeah, I think it might be my primary outdoor duffel bag.
Yeah.
It's a big one too.
It's nice, good size. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how many liters or whatever you want to call it, but it's pretty large. I would say it's like 50
liters. You think so?
I think so. Cause I think my Patagonia bag is 35.
Okay.
And it's like 1.5 times as large as my Patagonia bag.
Nice. So anyways, really cool bag. Toyota did some t-shirts and mugs for everybody as well.
Yep. And I think, did you get a t-shirt and a mug? Okay. I think we'll use those as some of the swag packs.
Okay.
Items or something.
I was keeping my mug.
Oh, you can keep it. I'm I'm donating mine to the podcast for something to be used.
Okay.
So I think I just grabbed a Toyota. Or no, I grabbed a Tacoma. I think I grabbed a Tacoma one. And I was going to use it as a swag pack.
Nice.
For something.
Nice. For one of our giveaways leading up to our winch giveaway, maybe?
Yeah, or maybe something random for during next month's or something.
Nice. Cool. Really cool stuff.
We got like 3 hats right over there that we could throw in anything.
Yeah. Registration was great. Tech inspection went smooth, went really well.
Speak for yourself.
I am speaking for myself.
Yeah.
No, I really do think that my horn, because everything else, like we went down the line, I had everything. And then like after the horn, he goes, okay, can you, do you have a working horn? I was like, I do. He goes, okay, can you show me? So I turned on the PA system, the megaphone, and hit just one of the sounds. I think I did the noise.
Yeah, that's the one you did.
And he immediately just starts cracking up. He goes, oh, that'll work for sure. And then after that, it seemed like he checked my blinkers and that was it. And I was like, I know there's more on that list that he didn't even go through.
Yeah, I was concerned about tires leading up to the event, and that didn't even bat an eye at the tires. I do think though that it helped that we were driving through dirt and soft soil, and all those itty bitty little cracks that are forming on one of the outside lugs were all kind of filled in, or dirt was there and you couldn't really see them. So I'm gonna be Austin. I might be contacting you for some new wheels here soon.
Nice.
For tires.
Yeah. That was pretty much tech inspection and registration. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. You drive in, you get inspected, and then you pick up all your registration packet and your swag, and then you get the chance to buy extra dinners, extra t-shirts, whatever you want, and then they say, get out of here because we need the space for more people to come in. Yeah. Got to say hi to Big Mike while we were there. Got to say hi to Casey and the Fresno contingency. And then got to look at some other really cool rigs that came in while we were there. But other than that was pretty much it. We were there about an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, a little while.
And then we had to get running. Right. Because we had a really cool interview with the mayor of Moab.
The mayor of Moab, the legend himself. Well, the mayor of Slick Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan...
He's not the actual mayor of Moab, but everybody calls him that.
Well, he was.
He was at some point. Yeah. But ex-mayor of Moab.
Yeah. Dan Mick. We if you listen to episode, what was it, 293? You heard our interview with Dan Mick that we recorded out there for you guys about the history of Moab, which it was a lot of fun to sit down and talk to Dan. I do apologize. I think I found somebody that likes to talk more than Tyler.
Yeah.
I think Tyler was even having a hard time getting a word in.
I was. At one point, I tried to go and talk a little bit about Dan, and he goes, no, we're going to finish up talking about history. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. That was funny. But yeah, it was a lot of fun learning about some of the back history of Moab and kind of why it's around and what the benefits of it are in that area and how uranium impacted that geographical area so much. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go check it out. But that was that. And then we finished our interview with Dan. And then I think Lee and Dimitri went out and did a run. Yep. Where they ran fins and things, right? Yeah, they went by themselves. Yeah. They went out and ran fins and things, just the two of them in the rig. And it was funny because Dimitri's like, I don't want to do that. It's rated a 4. It's not very difficult.
It's an easy trail.
It's an easy trail, like blah, blah, blah. And he comes back and goes, that was way harder than I thought it was going to be. That had some tricky spots in it. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, it's a fun trail. Like, it's pretty good. And I am glad
He dented the corporate cruiser on the trail.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Was that one of the fenders?
It was the front passenger fender, the first one.
Oh.
The first time he hit it.
Nice.
Was on Fins and Things. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think Fins and Things, if you've never been to Moab and you're going to Moab, I think Fins and Things should be the first trail you run.
Really?
Yeah.
More than Top of the World?
Yeah. Top of the World doesn't have any climbs, like slick rock climbs.
Oh, okay.
In it, where Fins and Things does, but they're not terribly tall.
Okay.
Also, if I recall, it's been a while since I ran Fins and Things. You kind of do some driving on a spine, and you kind of do, turning down a ledge that's a little off camber. And so I think Fins and Things kind of covers a lot of what driving around Moab is, but on a smaller scale.
Okay.
And so it's a good baby step. You're like, okay, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I can do these things. Like, now I'm going to go do some of these harder trails
let's go do Moab Rim.
Yeah, let's go do all these other trails they're harder and they have more extremes of these things, but this is how Moab's going to be.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I think it's a good introduction to wheeling around in Moab.
Gotcha. I still haven't done Fins and Things, so I don't know. Yeah.
Next year we should do a night run of it.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Maybe we can throw that out there on
do a listener night run.
Yeah,
next
listener
year?
night run, a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Go out and do Fins and Things.
Okay. While the rest of the event is doing Hell's Revenge at night. And apparently Top of the World at night.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a very...
I still don't get that one.
Yeah. That one would be weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could still see out into the valley, but you don't get the view. I don't think the view would be there.
Yeah.
Plus, unless you know where the cliff is.
Yeah, right.
You might just drive right off of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, Dimitri and Lee got back from Fins and Things. They sat down and Dimitri was like, shaking in his boots a little bit or whatever.
Trying to figure out what runs he wants to try and get the rest of the week.
That too. Yeah. And then we had decided that we were going to run Top of the World, kind of to catch the sunset in a way.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of talking about when to leave, and eventually we're just like, let's just go.
Yeah.
So then what a 2-hour trip we expected, it turned into be a 3-hour trip.
One way.
One way.
Yeah.
We expected it to take us 2 hours to get up there, and it took us 3 hours from our Airbnb, which was fine. We still got up there before sunset, and we hung out there for quite a while, and and got all the photos and everything. Was there anything on the trail that leading up to it?
Not really. Just a couple ledges where we were kind of playing around at, and seeing how the corporate cruiser was doing, and seeing how Lee was doing, getting up ledges and figuring out that
Lee pretty much tried to follow every line that you or I did.
I know, it was great. I loved watching him wheel.
Yeah, even that really big ledge, like at the top of that like rocky sort of section. I'm like, Lee, you don't want to go up that.
Yeah.
And then at one point I took his FJ80.
Yeah.
I drove up it, and then I was like, okay, Lee, now you go learn how gears work, and you go drive this.
Yeah.
And he's like, that was easy. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. That's gears.
Gears.
The
and
torques.
Gears and suspension travel.
Yeah.
The trip up was pretty uneventful. I mean, we just cruised and didn't have any problems, and played around a little bit and everybody was trying different lines at points. And
there was a couple times when Dimitri kept going, are we at the top yet? I don't want to go all the way to the top. I don't want to go out to the ledge. I don't want to go to the ledge. And I'm like, okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. And then we got to the top, and I pulled off because I was like, I'm not going to go anywhere near the ledge. I can kind of see where it is. So I pull over to the side. He goes, are we there? Are you stopping? And I was like, I don't know, just follow me. And I started walking. He goes, no, what are you doing? I was like, just follow me, Dimitri.
Yeah.
And he would not follow me out to the ledge.
I wonder why.
Yeah. He ended up parking the corporate cruiser, and who got to drive it out there for him?
Yeah, I drove the corporate cruiser out onto that rock.
Yes.
You wouldn't do it, and Rob wouldn't do it.
No, neither of them would do it. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So you drove, and I spotted out onto the ledge. And then after it was out there, he got the biggest like giddy laugh and smile going on that I've ever seen him.
The little kid look of like, his Tonka toy up on, a ledge looks awesome, and it did. It looked really good up there.
It did look good, yeah.
And so I'm glad we took it out there, and he didn't. He had to, it had to go out on that ledge to get photos. I mean, some of the photos that were snapped, I mean, he could blow up and throw up onto a wall. I mean, that rig looked good up there.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to be next year's Cruise Moab t-shirt.
Yeah, maybe. We should have popped the rooftop tent.
Oh, that would have been
up
good.
there. Look at our camping spot. So, and then we all went out on the ledge and took our photos like, tourists do. And then when we were leaving, or did you want to talk about anything else up at the top?
No, not really. We just got a group photo. We had some drinks, hung out for a while, watched the sunset until the sunset was down behind the clouds at least.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, let's go. It's starting to get cold.
Yeah. And then when it started to get cold, we were like, let's go. And then I was like, well, do we want to do the rest of the trail? Because there kind of loops around and gets really difficult, gets fairly difficult, rocky on the other side. And the consensus was, no, let's just get down. Yeah. And so we were driving down, and I think, and Bobcat's not fast. Yeah. Bobcat's not Bobcat wheels great. Bobcat has good suspension travel. It is an outstanding crawler. It's one thing it's not is drive down a trail quick. Yeah. A rig. Yeah. It's not designed for that. And I don't know if it's just the leaf springs or the shocks or the tires or the combo of everything. Yeah. So I was cruising down slow. Lee was in front of me a little ways. You were a ways ahead of me. And I think by the time I got halfway down the trail, I heard Dimitri come across the radio saying that he was at the main dirt road. Uh-huh. And so he was probably back in town by the time easily by the time I got to the pavement.
He was about 45 minutes ahead of me. Yeah. Getting to the bottom. So yeah. And I was
getting to the bottom
to the air up. So, and you were 15 minutes behind me. Yeah. Getting to the air up. So about an hour.
He had an hour lead on a 3-hour trip.
Yeah.
So he was flying down the hill.
Yes, he was.
Flying. Yeah. Which is great. I mean, that rig is built for that. I mean, it sounds like that rig is perfect for that sort of scenario.
It's set for. Yeah, exactly.
So that was funny. And then what did we do that night? We didn't go to Mexican that night, did we?
I think that was Gilberto's night.
Okay.
No. What did we do? I don't remember what we did for dinner now. Because we got down and Dimitri ended up going to Moab Brewing and we didn't because it was after it closed. So
I think we just went home.
Maybe. Yeah.
I went and got gas and then I went home.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I just munched on something because I hadn't gone to the grocery store yet.
Oh, that's right. I went to the grocery store the next morning early. So I don't remember.
You went Wednesday morning because you had to make breakfast.
Yeah.
So before check-in.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I don't remember what we did Wednesday night now after Top of the World. So whatever. We ended up going to bed and got up the next morning because we had a run ahead of us on Thursday.
Pritchett
Canyon.
Yes, supposedly the hardest trail in Moab.
Yep. It's up there with the Pickle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I didn't, because we were out so late, this grocery store was closed on the way home. I didn't have any breakfast, or I didn't have any lunch supplies, excuse me. So I woke up even earlier than everybody and I drove into town to go to the grocery store. And on my way into town, I smelt a burning smell coming from my engine. And I was like, oh man, what is this?
No bueno.
So I pulled over halfway into town and I hop out on the side of the highway there. And I'm looking underneath and there was smoke just coming out of my alternator.
Oh no.
Yeah, just piling out. And I'm like, oh, alternator's done.
Sorry, 22 REs don't need an alternator to run.
No. Well, not for a while. Jeremy Borhawk could tell you a story about that in my truck. So I still drove. Okay. I was like, okay, alternator's out. It's not charging. Yeah. The battery should be good for a little while. So I drove the rest of the way into town, went to the grocery store, did my shopping.
Did you turn off the truck while you went in the grocery store?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious because I'm like, your battery's low because that's what takes the most juice out of it is the starter.
True. Yeah. But if I would have left it on, it would have still been draining the whole time I was in there.
It would have been draining a little bit. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know how much time, because the only electrical components is really your injectors, the fuel injection system. in that engine. So
spark plugs, right?
Spark plugs and fuel injectors. I mean, is that how much juice does that really pull compared to your starter?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, so you went to the grocery store?
So I went to the grocery store, did my shopping. Took longer than I needed because I did some research while I was in the grocery store to figure out what time the first auto parts store opened. And the grocery store, I got up to get to the grocery store about 6 to 6:15, and the first auto parts store opened at 7. So I just walked around the grocery store for a little while, and just bought, my groceries and packed everything up, and then jumped back in the truck and drove to an O'Reilly's, which was my savior for my radiator issue a few years ago. And they had the alternator. And then the day before, when we did Top of the World, my starter wasn't working very well. There was a few times when I had to hop out and hit the starter to get it to turn over. And there was one time that I had to, I think it was when I was leaving the parking lot. I had to, Lee came out, and I think he was hitting the starter when I was trying to click it over. Like it wasn't happening. Like Simon, like I used to be able to hop out myself and hit the starter and then walk back to my truck and it would go. But that time I had to have both happening at the same time. So I was going to buy another starter, but O'Reilly's didn't have the starter. But fortunately right next door is a CarQuest.
Yep.
So I walked next door to CarQuest and I bought a starter there. So I had an alternator and a starter. With my thought was, if the starter is really bad, then I can change it out whenever. But I need to change out that alternator. So drove back to the house, went and ate breakfast. Figured I had plenty of time to swap out an alternator. It's not that hard. We didn't. We had to be at the trailhead at 8:30. 8:30 to 9, right?
Yeah, 8:30 meet up, 9 leave.
9 leave. And so we took out the old alternator, went to install the new alternator, and I realized once it was in place that it had the wrong plug on the backside.
Yep.
It had this long, skinny plug with 3 ports instead of a round plug with 3 ports. So I was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
So called...
right about that time is when I came out to be like... What's going on out here? Oh, because I heard a wrench fall on the concrete. And I was like, what is going on outside? I didn't even know you were working on that.
Yeah.
And I came out and I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm having to swap out my alternator. And I was like, uh-oh. Okay.
Just fluke too. Yeah. I think I know what happened now. Because once I changed out the alternator, the next... on Saturday or something, I realized that there was coolant on the ground underneath my engine. And I was like, where's this coming from? It was on the drag link and tie rod. And I was like, where? And it was only overnight it left a puddle the size of a silver dollar.
Okay.
Right? And I was like, what? This is weird. And so then I tried to track it up and I didn't see anywhere where it was coming from. Well, then on Sunday, there was falling down the engine when we were going home, and I could see that it was coming down from my alternator. So I think something above my alternator is leaking very, very slowly, but the coolant is falling onto the alternator and getting the alternator wet, and then it was gunking up with dirt and dust and stuff throughout the time. So I think that's
your alternator's not leaking coolant?
The alternator's not leaking coolant.
Oh, okay.
No.
Just making sure.
I think the inlet pipe or something above it is leaking coolant.
Okay.
So I think that is what killed my alternator. And it just happened to be the first day of Cruise Moab that it went out.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I made some phone calls.
You made some phone calls, and then we ran to Napa really quick, and we ran back. And then we got the number for Big Mike to call him, to text him, to say that we're going to be late or we'll meet him at the trailhead. And we got the alternator in record time. I think I said, okay, 10 minutes, wheels up. And we were done in 7.
7 minutes.
Yeah, which isn't a hard install. It's just, when you got 2 people that know what they're doing, it goes super fast.
Yeah.
And then I got to the staging or the meetup area before the departure time. And you were at a gas station. I was like, where are you? Because you left before me.
Yeah.
And nobody was there.
No one was there.
Nobody was there. I'm like, what did they already go to the trailhead?
Yeah.
So I went and looked at my phone, and I had a missed call from a 530 number. No, 559 number.
Oh, that's 559?
Uh-huh.
And not me?
Not you.
Okay.
And so I called him back. Yeah, because I have your number. When you call, it comes up with your name. So
asshole.
Yeah. And so I called him back. Well, so I thought it was Big Mike, right? I'm like, oh, maybe it's Big Mike, trail lead, calling me. Where are you at? You know?
That's right, because Big Mike was supposed to be leading the Pritchett Canyon run. So in his Tacoma, the RCLT, the Marlin Crawler Tacoma, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we did see him the night before welding something in the corner. And so I called this 559 number, and it was Casey.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, hey, Casey. You know, or I said, hey, this is Jimmy Jet from Snail Trail 4x4. I have a missed call from this number. And it was like, hey, this is Casey from Valley Crawlers. I can't remember what their name is. And I was like, oh, hey, what's going on? He's like, did you hear that the Pritchett run was canceled? I'm like, no, but that makes sense. Nobody's here.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I guess Big Mike's truck is still broken and he's not going to be able to do that run.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Which was a big bummer.
Yeah.
That was like the one run I was really looking for.
Me too.
But at the same time, it was the one run I was really dreading.
Me too.
Because I watched the stupid videos of Pritchett Canyon on YouTube like 3 days before leaving. And I was like, oh, yeah, the 4Runner doesn't do good at this. The 4Runner does awesome at what we have in Northern California. 4Runner does not go up steep off-camber climbs very well.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was really dreading Pritchett Canyon. So it was a big bummer because I really wanted to hang out with Mike all day and everybody else on the run. Yeah. And I was like, I have no problem pulling up to a wall and just winching up the wall. I don't care.
Right.
Like I'm okay with that.
Well, you know what's funny is I don't know everybody that was signed up for that run. But of the people that I did know that were signed up for that run, they were all California people.
Yes, right? I do remember that as well. All the California boys wanted it.
All the 559 guys, that entire club seemed to be signed up for it, except for the one 100 series cruiser.
Yeah.
And then you and me and Big Mike. And those are all the names that I knew. You know, and I was like, is anybody from not in California going on this run?
I think it was
I think they were, but
I don't know. I don't know.
It'd be funny to go find out.
Yeah, but I did. I wanted to go hang out with everybody for the day. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm kind of glad I didn't do it as well. Because if I had broken the 4Runner on the first day of the trip, then the rest of the trip is shot. And I'm I need Pritchett to be on Saturday.
Right.
So,
yeah. And like we were sort of alluding to a little earlier, but we were both excited to be able to wheel with Big Mike and talk to him and watch the RCLT in action and
the taco box in action.
Taco box and everything that they have and have done. You know, it'd be really cool to see it work. So the trip was canceled, or that trail was canceled, and Big Mike wasn't leading us on our trail, and so we were sort of and we weren't at the staging area, so we were kind of didn't know what to do. Didn't have a plan. We're completely free for the day.
We just got done rushing the past 30 minutes to get this alternator put in, find a new alternator, put it in, get gas, get to the staging area before 9 o'clock. And so we're like rushing. And then all of a sudden, oh, now we have the whole day available. And it's
do whatever we want to do. So after some talks, you know, because I was kind of like, let's still go do Pritchett. I don't care. Let's still go and try it. We decided that we didn't do that, and then we were pretty close to a few trails on that road, I think it's called Cane Creek Road. That heads out to Cane Creek, which we did last year. And we knew that there was a few trails off of that. So we started looking at those, and then Moab Rim came up. Yeah. And it wasn't a terribly long trail, and it was right where we were. It was like one of the closest trails to us. And so, I think...
And it's rated a 7.
And it was rated a 7.
Yeah. So we were like, well, there's only 2 trails rated higher, and that's the Pickle and Pritchett. Pickle is 8, Pritchett's 9, and then they don't have anything rated 10 out there yet. So... I was like, oh, it's a rated 7 trail. I've heard that there's some really tight spots where you get really close to the cliff edge, but that's all I've heard about on that trail. Otherwise, it looks pretty short. It's right here in town. Yeah. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we drove down the road a few miles and turned into the staging area. And I talked to a guy from BLM for our air, and we aired down, and I accidentally aired down too far, but I said, screw it. I'll run it. I think I was at 3.5.
Yeah, 3 to 3.5, somewhere around there.
3.5, 37s, it's 37, 13, 5s, 17-inch rim.
No beadlocks.
No beadlocks.
Yeah, on Bobcat.
On the Bobcat at 3.5. Didn't blow a bead.
Nope. And if you're going to blow a bead, I feel like that trail's the one you'd blow a bead on.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's I was kind of like, well, shit, if I ran 3.5 on that one,
yeah,
I should be fine the rest of the time. So you started leading.
I did.
You had the map. You were leading up the trail. The first obstacle we came to was nothing too serious.
No, there was a bunch of tire marks on it. It was just it's like this really tight turn in this like dead end corner kind of thing that's dug into the rocks or whatever it is. So
you kind of had to go right around a rock, but then turn left. You had to go on the right side of the rock, but go around it and then turn left and then turn right and go up the hill.
Yeah.
Sort of like this S turn that's a little off camber and then you point yourself eventually up the mountain and you continue on up. Yeah. So it wasn't that bad.
That spot. Okay. I was thinking of the spot I did the wheelie.
No.
Okay.
That was...
Yeah, I didn't even think of that as an obstacle. I was just thinking that's part of the, the trail.
Well, I mean, it's a slight obstacle.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which had a little bit of an off-camber essence to it.
It had a lot of bit of off-camber essence to it,
well,
Jimmy.
The thing is... I didn't want to talk about this now, but it didn't have a lot going up.
True.
But when you were going down it, I didn't even go that way. I went straight off the ledge because I didn't want to try to do the off-camera side.
Yeah.
So when I went up it, it didn't even faze me. Like it didn't even care. Like, oh, this is okay. Like, well, yeah, whatever.
Interesting.
So the next one had this like a crack that you had to go through that was on a corner. And so you had to drive up on driver's side, turn into the crack, drop down into the crack, which had an off-camber essence to it, and then pull yourself up the other side of the crack. Now
up a rock.
And then up a rock. And now you're even more off camber. And then you kind of had to pull your rear end through it. Yeah. So, and then immediately right after that was a turn driver side down off camber.
Yeah.
Kind of coming back the way you came.
Yeah.
So that, we're like, what are we getting ourselves into? And I knew about that big S turn on Moab Rim.
The Z turn?
The Z turn.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. And I was like, okay, well, if we're not even there yet.
Yeah.
And both of these little obstacles are not very comfortable.
No, they're not at all.
And so I was like, what are we getting ourselves into? So we went on, and I think the next thing was the Z turn.
Yep.
And the Z turn...
Well, no, there was a couple of small drops.
Some ledges.
Leading up to the Z turn. But nothing big as you're coming down.
Right.
Or as you're coming down those ledges, that particular one. Right. But yeah. So we got up to the Z turn.
Yeah, got up to the Z turn, took a second, hopped out of our rids, looked at it, and talked about it. And it wasn't, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was that bad. Like it was a little off camera and there were big drops. And like you didn't want to drop one of your tires at a wrong time without something else about to come down. So you had to pay attention to what's climbing and where your tires are when it's climbing and going up it. And it was funny watching the full size tour guide go up a completely line that I didn't even look at.
I didn't even think that was a line over there, really.
And so we pretty much walked up the Z turn.
I was really impressed. Neither of us really slipped a tire at all going up the Z turn.
Yeah.
It was really anticlimactic for how bad it looks.
Yeah.
Which I think is just a huge testament to how much traction you get out there.
It really is.
Yeah.
And to some extent about how tall our vehicles are.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because we cleared, like when you would go up one of the ledges, your tires go down before you're going to hit the next ledge. And we're not even hitting our bellies yet.
No, not close.
And then some of the Jeep, there was a side-by-side and some Jeeps coming up one time. And they were bottoming out on everything.
Yes.
And so it's like, oh, well, our rigs are tall and we're not having problems hitting anything. But we are, shitting our pants whenever we're at an off camber angle.
Yeah.
So, there was this double-edged sword. We're clearing everything and we're not getting hung up on anything, but we also can't do off camber sections.
Yeah.
So, not too far after that, there was just this sort of rolling ledge.
Little rolling ledge where the So the whole time going up Moab Rim for like the first quarter mile, eighth of a mile, it's just everything is at like a 20-degree slope with the slope of the canyon wall that you're working up, right?
Yeah.
And so this little rolling ledge, you drop off the ledge first on the downhill side of the slope. And so your uphill side doesn't drop off the ledge for like another 2.5, 3 feet. And so I went off, but I tried to square up to it and I couldn't quite get turned in the tight confinement that it was. And so I got the front end dropped off and then I couldn't go off trail to continue in that angle. So I kind of had to turn back up the slope a little bit. And my rear driver dropped off the ledge before my rear passenger dropped off the ledge.
Right.
And I should have rolled over right there. Like, I don't know how I didn't roll over.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I felt it going up and over, everything got really light. The secretary freaked out and I could see the white in her eyes going on out of the peripherals of mine as I'm like dropping it into third gear and slamming the steering wheel over driveway to drive out of the rollover essentially. And we just ended up settling back down for a second. We just both sat there looking at each other and she goes, "Do you want me to get out?" I was like, "Yes, get out right now."
But she was on the side holding you down.
She was. Yeah.
Not that featherweight would hold much down, but at least I had your dad in my passenger seat. Maybe that's why I didn't feel anything.
Maybe. So anyway, she jumped out and then I radioed over to you guys and I said, "Hey, I need you guys to come down here. I need someone to spot. I need to figure out what's going on here. I'm going to roll over. And if I roll over, I'm going down to the highway. There's nothing stopping me." And so you guys came over, she got out and then I got out, which was a mistake in hindsight because I got out to kind of look at things. We came up with a plan of you driving up in front of me, kind of uphill in front of me, and then me winching to you to just get tension on the front of the rig and level me out a little bit while I try and drive out of it.
Right.
And when I got back in the rig, I couldn't put my seatbelt back on.
Yeah.
And so that is other than just the rollover, the almost rolling over, but having to now move the vehicle in the position it was in with no seatbelt on, that got me really worked up. And I just remember my dad was trying to tell me what's going on with the vehicle around me. And I was just like, I told him to shut up. I was like, "Don't talk to me right now." Like, I was super ultra focused. I was like, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to have anything going on besides feeling what the vehicle is doing right now, because one little move and I am dead.
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt bad for getting a little uppity with him at that point, but I was like, "I'm sorry. I just need to focus right now."
Sure.
So,
and it's understandable. I mean, you're not, I don't even know if seat belted in would save your life.
I don't know if it would either. It would have just given me maybe a false sense of security.
Yeah. You're like, "Yeah, I'm seat belted in, but I'm still going to fall a few 100 feet or whatever it was at that point."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I pulled up ahead. We threw your winch line up to my truck. There was nowhere really there to anchor my truck to. So I just started the engine, held the brakes. And then winching in, pulled your passenger side down, hopefully gave you a better comfort level. We got you turned and up the hill, pointed in a good direction. And then from there it was kind of like, well, do we want to continue on up this trail? I don't know.
Yeah.
So we walked up maybe
1,000 yards, 500 yards,
few
maybe
100 yards. And there was just this one other obstacle that both you and I were looking at it going like, it's not hard, but I don't want to do it.
Exactly. Right.
It's off camber, pointed the wrong way. There's no easy line. Even if I did like a 7-point turn, then I would have to figure out how to do a 7-point turn the other way so I could head back up the mountain. And then we were at the point of when we didn't know what else was coming. It's like, we're only like an eighth to a quarter mile up this trail. It's supposed to be like a mile and a half long.
Yeah. 1.5 to 2 miles, something like that.
And so we're like, what else is to come? So we kind of took our really tall vehicles back down the hill with us. We tucked our tails in shame and decided that our vehicles aren't made for off camber.
No, they're not made for that trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was one of those things where we also had the vendor show that we had to get back for. And it was kind of like, if we were going to continue by ourselves, and this is what really nailed it home for me, because we talked with Dan about this in the interview, was if you're going to go out to Moab for the first time, don't go on trails necessarily by yourself. Go with somebody who knows the trails. Mm-hmm. And so that was the only thing that was like screaming through my head. I was like, we could probably do it, but every little ledge we come up to from here on out, I'm getting out and looking at it. It's going to take us forever to do this if we want to keep doing it. Because I was like, I'm not going over or up or down any more ledges without looking at them first. And so, I was just like, no, I don't want to.
Right.
I'll wait for another day when I have somebody here who really knows the trail, knows what my rig is capable of, how it's set up, and where it can go on this trail. And so, we tucked our tails between our legs and turned around and started heading back out.
Yeah. And it took us like 5-point turns right there where we were at, just because we didn't want to get too off camber and in the wrong direction at the wrong time. And we had to climb a little ledge at an off camber angle to get out of where we were. It was, it was an interesting time. On the way down though, we had even more interesting time.
Yeah. What are you looking at me for? No, the Forerunner is not built for off camber, man. I'm tall, I'm top heavy, I'm narrow. And so coming back down, I mean, going up is one thing. You're kind of going against gravity, right? So you can kind of keep forces at bay. But when you're going with gravity in the same direction that gravity wants to take you, it's way too easy for gravity to overtake you and make you keep going that direction when you need to start climbing stuff.
Right.
Instead of climbing, you just slide off the side of the mountain. And so that happened to me 2 more times. Where I was trying to, turn and climb a ledge, and it wasn't really letting me climb. It just kind of kept shifting me slowly off the side of the mountain. I was like, I'm going to die. This is it. This is the end. This is how it all ends right here.
Moab 2022.
Right.
The podcast officially goes from an hour and a half to 20 minutes.
Right. Oh man. So, just climbing up, trying to climb up some of those ledges. I would start lifting tires, and the Forerunner has a lot of body roll already. So like once I start lifting a tire in the Forerunner, the whole thing wants to go. I've already reached the limit of the body roll and the limit of the suspension. I'm off balance now once I start lifting tires, and I lifted tires quite a bit more times on the way down. And it didn't feel good at all. If I had kept going, I would have rolled the Forerunner another 2 times on the way down. Yeah. And then we got back to that tight corner with this deep crack that you have to go down to the crack and then come up, bring yourself up, coming up there, coming down. My steering decided it didn't want to steer.
Yeah.
And so instead of getting the line I was wanting to get to come down that crack, I ended up way more passenger side, and my driver front tire dropped right down into the middle of the crack, right in the middle of the hole right there. And how did that look from your vantage point, Jimmy?
Well, it looked like you did a handstand.
Yeah.
I don't know if your stinger stopped you or not, but it was definitely probably helping one way or another.
Yeah.
But I remember telling you, like, when that was happening, I remember you got to go more driver, and you're like, I can't.
I was trying to steer. Both you and my dad were like, driver, and you like both yelling at me, you need to go driver more. And I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
So instead of stopping, doing the smart thing and stopping and going back, I was just kind of kept going with it.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it afterwards. Like, okay, if you're having problems with your steering and you can't get it where it needs to be, we need to figure out how to get you where you need to be.
Yes.
Not continue on down the hill. But your driver's side tire fell into that hole, and your tire, for however far your tire went down into that hole, your rear tire went up. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I definitely reached over my head to grab your bumper. Yeah. You had stopped, and you had, come to a complete stop at a crazy angle. And I walked around your vehicle and put some weight on your vehicle. I mean, the only thing running through my head is watching that Easter Jeep Safari guy do the same thing. Except it was a Jeep going down. That was it was moving.
Yes.
Right. And the guy like tried to jump in to help this guy
to grab the rear quarter
panel and pull the Jeep down. And then the guy got kicked out. That was the only thing running through my head at that moment. It's like I'm doing the same stupid thing that this guy is doing, except you're not moving.
Oh, that's funny.
You know. And so I grabbed your rear bumper and I only put a little bit of weight on it, and it started leveling your vehicle out.
Yeah.
A lot.
And
so I put a lot more weight on it, and I brought your tire almost down all the way to the ground.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, let's like...
And
in my head, I'm like, well, let's try to go forward and see if things level out. And if you don't level out and it starts to rise again, I'm just fucking letting go. I'm not gonna get carried over with this thing.
Right.
Sorry, Tyler. But yeah, so once you leveled out, once I pulled you back down a little ways and you started to inch forward and your driver's side or your passenger side tire started coming off the ledge, everything settled. And was in a much better spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got,
then I went down a completely different way.
Yes, you did.
I was like, well, that way didn't work. I'm going to go this way.
I felt like that was a common theme throughout that whole trip was like, oh, that didn't work for Tyler. I'm going to go over this way.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that way is okay, but I think this way is going to be better.
Yeah. So, and got down there and then just had one more scare coming down that little spot that we were talking about earlier where you had this S turn with this rock in the middle and going up it didn't really feel too terrible. I mean, it was definitely off camber, but fuck, coming down that and trying to take the S turn didn't feel good at all.
No, you're turning into the way that your camber or you're leaning off angle and, you're trying to drive around this rock that's too small to set your rock sliders on to hold you up, and so, I mean, you took it, I think you reversed a little bit and then you tried to turn again at an angle. And I think you said at some point, you're like, can I just back out of this now?
Yeah.
Like,
can I just back out and go down the ledge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, your dad's like, no, you're too far.
Yeah.
And so you drove through it fine. It just felt weird. And then your dad comes walking around and he's pointing which way I'm going and I'm pointing straight down the ledge. Like, I'm not going around that. I'm going down the ledge.
Yeah.
And he like looks at me and he gives me a thumbs up and nods his head. And then he just inched me forward to the ledge. It was a tall ledge though, because I tried to go down it slow and I went down it and I bottomed something out.
Oh, geez.
I don't know what it was.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know if it was my shocks, which if it was, Sean, I'll call you. Or if it was my cross member or something. But yeah, I came down pretty hard. And then drove off it on the rear and didn't have a problem. Didn't hit anything on the rear. So
yeah.
And then that was pretty much it. Got down to the bottom and gas or aired up and decided to head over to Gemini Bridges. Yeah. Well, while we were on Moab Rim, we met a cool guy, Pat.
Yeah, that's right.
So hi, Pat, if you end up listening to this.
Yeah.
So at the end we decided, you know what, we've had enough wheeling. Our 1.6 or 0.16 mile or whatever 1.6.
Yeah.
No, not even that. What would it have been?
0.15 is 1/8.
0.15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1/8 of a mile.
1/8 is 0.125.
0.125. Okay.
Yeah.
So right around there.
Yeah. So our 1/8 of a mile we got on a trail. That was enough wheeling for that day.
Yes.
There was already a lot going on, and it took us like 4 hours to go that distance. So we decided to go out to Gemini Bridges, which has a dirt road but no real off-roading. I don't even think I locked my hubs.
Yeah.
So drove all the way out there and got to walk around to Gemini Bridges, which is pretty fun. You go out to like a trailhead and then a 300-yard walk or something like that down to Gemini Bridges, which is just a sort of a sinkhole.
Yeah, it looks like a creek came down the top and then falls off. And I guess it originally started as a sinkhole and then turned into a waterfall. And during heavy rain seasons, you get a lot of water running down right there, turning into a waterfall, and then kind of creating this cavern underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some natural bridges,
yeah.
which, I think, I don't know who said it, you or the secretary, but somebody said that bridges are made from water runoffs and arches are made from erosion.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Yeah.
So.
Which I didn't question at the time, but got to thinking about, like, how is there erosion without water.
Yeah.
But I guess there could be natural erosion to some extent. But,
okay.
So yeah, like there's a really big park right next door called Arches National Park, so which has a bunch of arches in it. But yeah, so we were at some bridges and it was neat. You got to walk across them. There was like 2 of them really close together. What would you say, like 4 foot,
4 feet, I would guess.
4 foot distant gap between them. Big enough, which last time I jumped across, and I didn't do that this time because I was silly, even though you had told me you thought about it. But yeah, I jumped across between them and a stupid, like, few hundred, like 500-600 foot fall from there.
Somebody died doing that earlier this year, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They fell backwards through it. Yeah. So that was, interesting. But yeah, I hiked around there, saw Bill's tomb. Bo's tomb. I guess an off-roader that drove off.
19 years old, had brake failure in 1998, I believe it was. 98, 99, was up there when you could drive down to Gemini Bridges. And up on that ledge where his little memorial and had brake failure and drove off the ledge there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So went and saw his little memorial and got to walk around and relax.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about that. Moab Rim last year while we were at Cruise Moab, there was a Jeep that rolled off of Moab Rim and the driver and passenger died. That was at the spot where I did the wheel stand.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was exactly where you did the handstand.
Yep.
A little bit different circumstances.
A little bit different.
They had gotten down and through it and then hopped out to help somebody.
Yeah. They went to spot somebody. When they went back to get in their rigs, so the story is that somebody heard a pop and then the rig started moving before they had seatbelts on, engine on, anything. And the rig just kind of went off the edge and they tumbled down to the highway.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wild. But yeah, right there.
Yeah.
So, and then, good. Our Gemini Bridges was good. I mean, it was relaxing. It was chill. We had to eventually wrap it up and head back to the vendor show.
We got to say hi to Goonie Bird on the way out.
We got on the way in and way out. Said hi to Gooneyberg. We posted a photo on Instagram, or I did, of me posing up on Gooneyberg. And, and I was like telling people that it's good luck to touch Gooneyberg's feet.
Yeah.
And then we had a friend of ours write back to us and say, no, it's not good luck. It's bad luck.
Yeah.
And so all the rest of the week, we started asking people, is it good luck or bad luck? And nobody had an answer.
No.
Everybody was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things that's like, it is however you think it is.
It's whatever you're feeling that day.
Yeah. I did read on the forum because I wanted to do some research to figure it out. And somebody on the forum said that Bleepin' Jeep stated that it's luck.
Oh.
So
not necessarily good or bad?
Yeah, it's not necessarily good or bad luck. It's determined by Gooneyberg that if you touch his feet, you get luck.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I was like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny if you, because I researched, is touching Gooneyberg's feet good luck? And there's a bunch of forums saying, yeah, touching Gooney, whenever you pass by Gooneyberg, touch his feet, it's good luck. Okay. Then I researched, is touching Gooneyberg's feet bad luck? And it was a bunch of forums going, yeah, don't ever touch his feet, it's bad luck. I was like, really, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, so yeah, we did that, and I touched his feet every single time I passed by it, so I believe it's good luck.
Yep. We went and flexed out on his feet, got some pictures.
Yep.
Checked clearances while we were there.
We did.
I was fairly well impressed with the clearances, the clearancing I've done for the 40-inch tires on the 4Runner. And while we were there, we noticed that how flexed or overflexed my leaf spring was.
Yeah, on your driver's side rear spring, when you're flexed up and tubbed, like
the rear passenger.
Thank you. When you're shoving that tire up in the rear there, we're looking at your springs and it was arced in the back, but then from your axle forward, it sort of dipped down. And I was like, wow, those are new springs.
Yeah, 2 years old.
2 years old, and you're already they're already worn out or something. You already flexed them out so much.
Yeah.
So kind of like, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
So, drove the rest of the way back. No problems. Went back to the house. You loaded up to go to the vendor show really quick. And I was like relaxing because I didn't have anywhere to be. And then I get a call from Dimitri, which I missed. And I get a text from you saying, hey, you have booth space.
I know, right?
And I was like, what?
What?
And so I was like, I'm on my way. And I called Dimitri back again.
All right, intermission time. Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah.
It's intermission time.
No, we don't have that set up on here.
What's set up?
We should add the intermission music.
We got chaos to spread.
Oops, I hit another button.
Good job.
Thanks. We should add the intermission music on the board.
What's the elevator one?
Yeah.
Do, whatever it is. That might be a good idea to add eventually. I thought I had it on there. It's on the first page. Okay. Well, alrighty then.
All systems go.
That works. So intermission time. We ended up recording a lot. We had a lot of fun stories come out as we warned you guys about. So we're going to take an intermission here at the end of Gemini Bridges, getting back from Gemini Bridges and getting ready for a vendor night with everybody.
It was a lot of fun.
The vendor night was a lot of fun.
Was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really cool networking with everybody, seeing everybody that came by the booth, putting on a show for everybody.
Yep.
So, we'll get into all that. Almost rolling. Did you almost roll at vendor night?
No. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
My tire was off the ground.
That's true. Your back tire was off the ground. There was a couple times I was able to go from the Forerunner out to talk to people by going under your front axle.
Yeah. So, I was there for at least one of those.
Yeah. Anyways, vendor show is a lot of fun. And then, of course, Friday with the Morphlite Metal Masher run, and then Saturday with the Golden Spike run that ended in a very long day. So we'll get into all that on the next upcoming episodes for everybody. So, that's all I got for this episode here. Jimmy, do you got anything else for everybody?
No, I think, we're kind of taking this somewhat day by day. You're going to hear about everything that we had going on here in the last, that you heard today. And then the next few episodes are going to be our next following days. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're following along. You probably followed along on most of all the social medias, and you know how much craziness and fun we got ourselves into. And I think the climax of this adventure is going to be worth every minute of audio time that you have.
I think it will too.
So no, definitely I'm excited to share the story with you, and I think it was a lot of fun going there, and it's even more fun to talk about it later. Yeah,
I agree. Cool. Well said. I can't add anything else to that. So if anybody wants to get a hold of us, or if you want a sneak peek at what happened and how this whole adventure climaxed out, you can go check out the social medias. The social grams over at Snail Trail 4X4 and 4X4 Toyota Tyler. There's also been some stuff getting posted over on the Morphlate account.
There's also stuff being posted on Lee at Cruise and Camps. There's also stuff being posted at whatever
Stellar Built
and Morgan's and Nick's and
they're all over the place.
The dirty koala.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. The dirty koala. I always forget about that. Yeah. Go check all those out. There's a lot of really cool content, a lot of really cool pictures and videos coming out from last week from just the shenanigans that we all got into all week long. So go check all those out. Shoot us an email if you guys have any questions. If you have any feedback, you can definitely give us a call at 916-345-4744. Let us know your feedback. That's all I got, man. Jimmy, do you have any final words for everybody out there?
Dimitri, I think I still owe you a shot.
Dimitri owes everybody pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
I'm ready.
What do you call a boomerang that won't come back?
Oh, I know this one. I do know this one.
What is it?
It's called a corn dog.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because corn dogs don't come back when you throw them.
Yeah. Okay.
You look confused.
I've always heard it called a stick.
Oh, okay. I guess that doesn't come back either when you throw it.
No.
No, actually, just for some reason, I don't know why I thought of it, but I just immediately Lee's cell phone thing, his Wii Boost, popped into my head, and he calls it his corn dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So